Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. As part of the year-ender series, The Big Picture has been looking at various aspects of what has happened in the country in the year 2014. Today we'll look at the Indian political scenario. 2014 is seen to be one of the most significant years in Indian politics when almost seismic changes took place. The year, which began in election mode, saw some unprecedented electioneering. The momentum was kept up right till the last day of the campaign with huge amounts of money being spent. The UPA government, which was on the back foot for some time, ended up miserably in the elections, even as Narendra Modi-led BJP romped home. For the first time in 30 years, a single-party majority was achieved and Congress ended up with its worst-ever performance. The left party's fate was also the same. The Aam Aadmi Party, which had begun the year on a high note, capturing the imagination of the people, not just in Delhi where it formed government, but across the country, ended up struggling to regain its lost base in Delhi. The post-election scenario in the country has seen major changes in the states where BJP has been virtually winning election after election. So what does all this mean? Has Indian politics taken an irreversible turn towards single-party rule, with the BJP riding high not just at the centre but the states also? What will be the scenario in the coming year? We will discuss all this today with Shashi Tharoor, former Union Minister and Congress MP, Nalin, Kohli, National Spokesperson BJP, Nilotpal Basu, Central Committee Member CPI-M, Professor Purushottam Agrawal, Political Analyst and former Professor at JNU, and Vinod Sharma, Political Editor, Hindustan Times. Welcome to all of you. Shashi Tharoor, I would like to come to you first because, your party seems to have had its worst as far as 2014 is concerned. It's quite is a forgettable year for the Congress. Would you agree with that?
I'm sorry, Girish, I couldn't hear the exact words of your question because of poor audio quality. But let me just address what I did hear of your introduction.
I said 2014 has been a forgettable year for the Congress.
Well, it's been a forgettable year, but a year from which we should learn lessons. But let me point out that before the BJP gets carried away and the media gets carried away with the conclusion that there's a sea change that you're talking about, I would ask you to cast your mind back to two experiences that I recall. One was in 1984, when Rajiv Gandhi won an even larger majority than Mr. Modi now has, and where the general consensus of the political opinion in this country was, this is a young man with such a stupendous majority. Forget about 5 years, we are going to have him for a generation. And you know what happened within one election. As you know, Rajiv Gandhi was defeated. I'd take you back even further. 1971, Mrs. Gandhi sweeps the polls. She then wins a gigantic victory over Bangladesh militarily. She then sweeps the assembly polls in 72. By 73, the country is in an uproar. By 74, we have JP's total revolution movement, and we have the emergency being proclaimed in 75. And the inevitable election defeat the next time around. So I'm just saying that history suggests that premature hubris on the basis of one election result, even if it is followed by satisfactory assembly results after that, should not be taken as a long-term prognosis. Even the Janata Party in 77 followed up its election victory by winning pretty much every state assembly election, and they were gone within 2 years.
Okay.
So I'm just stressing there are certainly great opportunities for the BJP to consolidate its rule, but history suggests that the Indian people have high expectations and high demands. The BJP's campaign has in fact stoked even further expectations, and I would say that traditionally those who have come in with overweening mandates and have become overconfident or overcomplacent about them have usually been taught a lesson by the electorate at the next opportunity.
Okay,
so we in the Congress are quite confident our time will come, and we are preparing to reorganize ourselves for that purpose.
Okay, you have looked at the future and you are hoping that the future would be better than what it has been in this year. Nalin Kohli, I mean, nobody shall grudge the kind of year 2014 has been for your party. It is the best year which your party has ever had. There's no doubt about it. But do you think that some of the four warnings which Shashi Tharoor is giving you is something which you people need to take it seriously at all?
Well, first of all, today I'm a little amused. In fact, a little surprised also by Dr. Tharoor with his very defensive startup to this discussion. I'm not here going to be chest beating and saying we've done it and this is the end of it. Certainly not. Politics, you have to keep yourself going. And we all know the history of India and we've seen it that there have been single party rule. There's been a long era of coalition politics. But as far as I'm concerned, I think I'd like to analyze it a little differently. The message is that if a single party has come back, and happily for the BJP, it simply means that people would like to see decision-making take off. So therefore, that's, I think, the crux of it. Whether single party is here to stay, the people of India have to decide. None of us sitting here can make a claim what the future is going to be in terms of the elections that follow. Certainly, there are benefits of single party rule because decision-making would be a little more expectedly easier. But even coalition can function when there is an understanding that develops. So I think parties, political people, countries, human beings keep, rising to the occasion, changing. As far as the BJP is concerned, yes, it's a historic mandate for us for many reasons. But also, it's a recognition of the fact that this is a vote which is A, for development, and B, it's aspirational India, in a sense, impatiently saying we would like to see things happen. So therefore, with power comes great responsibility. And we will have to come out with that. We'll have to work on it. And 5 years down the line, we will have to go to the people and the people will judge us for our track record. That's what Prime Minister Modi has been saying. And that's what we hope to work on.
Okay. That's being pretty modest, actually, Nalin. There's nothing modest for you people to be.
Maybe honest also. No, but even honest.
Yeah, honest also, yeah. I'll accept that.
No, I think before you hear me, you have given the verdict. No, not at all.
In all honesty, there's nothing much for you to feel modest about.
No.
This year has not been one of the best ones.
I think then we will be overlooking and ignoring reality. Yes, of course, we have to be modest, but at the same time, I tell you the impression that is created by this huge majority of the BJP, apart from the points which were made by Shashi Tharoor, I think one of the major disconnect is the difference between the numerical majority and the popular votes that were received by the BJP, even in this election.
Let us not get into what...
No.
I'm looking at the left's position.
Left, I'm coming to the left.
Yes.
The left also recognizes this, that you see, while it is a fact that BJP has numerically done very well in terms of having majority and near majority in the other assembly elections, but at the same time, there is a lot of opposition to BJP also on the ground, which is reflected in the popular support. Now, the first major disconnect that in the last 6 months we have come to see is Prime Minister Modi very commendably speaking about all minorities in this country being Indian citizens. But also, I think you're diverting. I'm coming to that.
We will certainly discuss what you're talking about.
With a lot of sobriety we are taking, but at the same
cannot
time...
speak on the left party. There is really nothing left to speak about them.
Okay, Nalin.
No, Nalin, I think I did not disturb you. First of all, you see, therefore, this is not end of the history. Therefore, if we have to really position ourselves as an alternative in this situation, we see this as a huge challenge and at the same time, a time of huge opportunity. Two elements, just integrating the struggle.
Let me ask you a question.
Hindutva, which is getting the better of what Modi is saying outside.
Let me ask you a question. At the beginning of the year, when the election scenario was hotting up, when the campaigns were, were taking off, your party was hoping that, they will do much better in West Bengal and Kerala, especially in West Bengal, than you did in the last elections and during the last assembly elections. Yes. That seems to have completely, failed. No. So you think that, the left party especially seems to be on the verge, many people think seems to be on the verge of, almost elimination.
Therefore, if I object this, you will say that you are arrogant, you are not
No, you can
accepting
object.
it.
I'm asking you a question.
I am saying at the time of election and immediately in the aftermath of elections, what we have told about West Bengal, many people would not have believed. Now, the unfolding events in the last 6 months after the elections actually vindicate some of the positions that we had said at that point in time about West Bengal and which people had interpreted as our arrogance. No, that is not the question. I am saying we have to face the situation with a very clear-cut politics. And the politics is the biggest challenge that this government poses is because on the one hand, their anti-people policies along neoliberal lines, and this assertion by Hindutva forces. Apart from the left, nobody is in a position to have an integration between the two elements.
You're not really addressing the issue which I wanted, Professor Agrawal. All the parties, the three parties have said what they have to say. The question which I'm asking on this program is there an irreversible turn in Indian politics?
Well, I think Dr. Tharoor has rightly reminded us of the history. He also should have, however, added that in this kind of great victories, you set up certain standards, you set up certain expectations, and then you are judged more harshly than other leaders. That is the case with Indira Gandhi in 1971. That is the case with Rajiv Gandhi in 1984. And I am pretty sure that is going to be the case with Mr. Narendra Modi in 2014.
As far as expectations
are concerned. And particularly in this election, since this was a very high decibel election, this was probably the first Lok Sabha election fought on television so vigorously.
Right.
And therefore, the promises, the things, the kind of hubris which was used or the kind of dreams which were sold, I think are going to haunt back, are going to, bother them.
Come back to haunt them.
And secondly, the more important point, Girish, I want to make, both Congress and BJP are missing one thing in their analysis. You see, politics, apparently it seems that one party has won and there is going to be a one-party rule. What we seem to be missing in this is the subterranean developments, seismic developments, which have been taking place in Indian society for the last 20 years. On the one hand, there are great expectations, aspirational India, and on the other hand, there is an increasing sense of marginalization and dispowerment amongst large section of people. And in such a situation, I think if things are not handled in a matured and balanced way, and there, I think the expectations from Mr. Modi were very high. And he has not
is high, not where, it is still.
No, I would say, yeah, R or whatever, but just, I don't want to name anybody, but at least two of the leading commentators who have been very vocal supporter of Mr. Modi during the election campaign. One of them going to the extent of saying that he seems to be under the spell of some black magic.
No, the things have changed, but Vinod, no, let us look at this whole year, as objectively as possible. This has been a, without a question, it's a BJP's year, it's Narendra Modi's year, and it is the worst performance of the Congress. Congress seems to be in really, has reached its depths. So, at the beginning of the year, did you think that this would be the condition? This would be the case?
And what has shocked me the most, and I have a different interpretation for the election outcome in 2014, which is that this election has caused the marginalization of the so-called secular forces. And the party that has been established in power has, in the guise of development, in the guise of equity for people, in the wealth that is generated, which is all good, and people's aspirations are all for that. There is an agenda on which there doesn't seem to be much control that the government has on changing the very state of India.
Let us not look at the future. I want to look at what happened. Let us not look at the future.
What I am saying, Girish, is that the moot issue to be discussed today is that whether the Indian state as it existed when BJP was elected to power is going to survive the coming years. That is my question.
Okay.
And this is the most important question rather than beating about the bush and saying that he's got a stupendous mandate, that he still has People's Connect, that the parties which were the principal parties which were governing this country have been marginalized. Yes, they have been marginalized. Left has been marginalized, the Congress has been marginalized, regional parties have been marginalized, and one leitmotif that joined these forces was their so-called secularism, which the BJP calls pseudo-secularism. No, I don't want to get into that debate.
No, let's not get into
I
that.
want to just raise this question and other panelists to join and tell us as to whether the Indian state will survive the way it is, a state without religion, a state with a parliamentary democracy. The way the government is being run is presidential. It is not parliamentary democracy that we see.
I think let me get Nalin into this, because Nalin, would you like to answer that question? Because you know this is a year of your high, but still there are a lot of questions. In 6 months, suddenly there are a lot of questions which have come up.
I have a few comments to make. First, of course, is the great thing about hope is one will tenaciously hold on to hope, even if it is the most morbid of thoughts that will keep one hoping that something better will come. So I don't know how Vinod bhai can be so morbid about India's future. India has survived emergency. I'm sure he has seen it. I was in my short pants. I don't even remember it. I had to read it in my history books. So I think we survived emergency, which was a very black chapter. This is democracy. It's not emergency. That the Indian state is under challenge from within, I think then we could be discussing Maoism, we could be discussing many things that go back to many issues which are serious. To straight away call a democratic victory of a government, a party which has been in power earlier, and then juxtapose it straight away with morbidity to the future, I think is very, very negative. So I really can't join force with that. With regard to what Purushottam ji is saying, the beautiful thing about analysts is you can look at the past, make a forecast for the future. Only the political people will be responsible for facing the hustings. So, you know, we will be held accountable when we go to the voters and the voters reject us or select us. Lose elections, we don't have the pleasure of sitting back and being our analysis. So that's the liberty of analysis. He's free to go on that track. I don't extend it in that sense that we will predict and call Mr. Modi either unbalanced or even, in a way, allude to him being immature. So I think that's a very unfortunate way of describing
these are words which you have used, none of the panelists here have used.
Office.
Okay, Vinod, very quickly.
No, I will know. His word was, he used the word mature and he used the word balanced.
Right, okay.
So therefore, I'm a little taken aback. Mature and balanced for whom?
Okay.
It's obviously for the man who's leading the BJP.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, therefore, if you can
Vinod
analyze,
wants to react to you.
Let's go now to the third point.
Vinod wants to react to you. I'll come to you, Shashi.
Very humbly, if I may ask my friend Nalin, that, you know, the right word, if you, to sort of encapsulate your sentiments, could have been that you could have dismissed my remarks as outlandish. But to call them morbid, please, it is the morbid thought.
But I don't know.
You know, your government is proposing in Parliament that let there be a ban on conversions. Is this not an attempt to tinker with a basic feature of the Indian Constitution? Is it not an attempt to tinker with the basic character of the Indian state when people who are associated with your party, your members of Parliament, out in the field, they're defying the Prime Minister, they're defying popular sentiment, they're defying the media, and they want to carry out reconversion, ghar wapsi, and all kinds of things. Nalin, you are saying it is morbid? You are calling me outlandish? I am warning on time. It is a timely warning to you guys.
Okay, Vinod. Nalin, please wait. Let me get Shashi in on this. You can answer after Shashi.
No,
you can please answer after Shashi. I'm sure Shashi also will have something to say. You can answer after that. Yes, Shashi.
Well, my point is exactly, first of all, Vinod, obviously I agree with his very serious concern here. Nalin was right when he talked about the fact that we moved away from what seemed to be the inevitability of coalition governance to a single party. But the worry is the contradiction within that single party, because you're seeing Mr. Modi, whose rhetoric has been entirely about development, very modern 21st century language about the future, sabka saath, sabka vikas, so inclusive of everybody. And then you have literally within the same party, its hard elements, the core of the party, the people who have done the campaigning and won the seats, going around on an agenda which in the most modest terms can only be called divisive. Whether it is the Ghar Wapasi program, the conversion law business, the frequent references to the Ram temple, to uncharitable references to Muslims as being insufficiently loyal to the country and so on. A lot of these things are being said by people who have actually got prominent positions within the ruling party, and in 2 cases are members of the Council of Ministers.
Right.
So it looks as if Mr. Modi says one thing and condones something else.
Okay.
Now, either the party is not the one party we thought it was, but is in the process of really dividing itself in a way that will end Nalin's thesis about a single party rule, or it is actually a party with 2 faces.
No, in
and
all fairness,
clearly they cannot be both the same faces at the same time.
Okay.
Sooner or later, the contradiction will cripple the attempt to rule the country effectively.
Okay. Nalin, let me get Nilotpal also in on this before I come to you. Yes, Nilotpal. Nilotpal, no, yes, I'll come to you.
I thought that you had actually given the certificate of his not being arrogant in the beginning.
Who?
You had given him a certificate that he was very modest.
He was, no, he was modest.
I think his second response actually is the antonym of what is modesty. And the second thing is that, you see, nobody is denying BJP that it is their year, it is the year of Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi, you can go ahead and declare him as the man of the year. But my point is that Mr. Modi became the man of the year, that BJP became the party of the year is because people repose faith in them on the basis of certain concrete assurances. And in many cases, Mr. Modi reiterates those assurances.
Yes.
But what is actually happening that they were complaining about policy paralysis. But now Mr. Modi himself has become a prisoner of circumstances which is being driven by the Saffron Brigade. And you see, I have never seen in my life, after such a landslide victory, there is one house of the parliament which cannot transact business because Mr. Modi is not prepared to come and assure the house that notwithstanding the fact that his earlier assurance could not be implemented because of open defiance by his colleagues, but he does not have the courage also to reiterate and let alone enforce it. So this is the tragedy that we are facing in the year which is the year of the BJP.
Professor Agrawal.
Just 2 quick points.
Yes.
One, I want to reiterate my earlier point that let us look at this thing in a more deep manner, and if we do that, we would realize that the victory of Mr. Narendra Modi is actually a result of a lot of subterranean currents of discontent and expectations at the same time. And this indeed is a great opportunity for Mr. Modi and BJP to really strengthen their position.
Right.
Secondly, I am afraid that they will not be able to do so because at the policy level there is hardly any difference from the previous government. There is hardly any new initiative. The only difference, which is an unfortunate one, is one can see a very, very definite turn towards the belligerence brand of Hindutva. Thirdly, I agree with Mr. Nalin Kohli that history teaches us that India has survived emergency, India has survived many things, and I do hope that India will also survive the agendas of converting all Christians and Muslims into Hindu by the year 2021.
Okay.
And it will also survive the grand design of making 31st December 21 as the last day of Christianity and Islam in this country.
Okay.
I hope India will survive these kind of designs.
Nalin, yeah, see, notwithstanding,
I mean, if it is Nalin and BJP bashing, so I hope I will. No, let me have my.
Yes,
let me have my say back.
That's why I'm giving you.
If some loony, and I'm saying it on the air, I'm saying if some loony element out of 1.25 crore people comes out with a loony statement and you link that to the Prime Minister, his Council of Ministers and Government of India, perhaps I feel you might be sharing the same kind of. Let me just finish. Let me finish, sir. I didn't disturb anyone. I took all the bashing very, very politely.
2 of them are ministers. 2 of them are MOSs.
Since I'm not sitting in a studio. Now let me go. Let me finish. Dr. Tharoor, I'll come one by one.
Please
I can't answer 5 people together. So let's go from what Purushottam Agrawal said. India is secular because Indian people are secular. It's not because you, me or anyone else in the studio is going to sit down and give certificates of secularism. What that fellow said on TV is outlandish. It's not from Mr. Modi, it's not from the Council of Ministers, and it's not from anyone from the BJP either. So you ask that person for his, just because somebody in the name of Islam goes up and blows up 122 children, that doesn't mean Islam is bad. So these kind of just pulling it up and extrapolating it to another issue is dangerous, to say the least, and responsible people cannot do that. Number one. Number two, let's go back to the Council of Ministers. One of them regretted it. She eventually said it. The second person regretted it much before the elections were over. Mr. Modi also publicly reprimanded him. So both of them were closed issues. They have, of course, the opposition would like discussions to take place through the well of the house in the manner they would like to take it, and they would not like to have it as per prescribed rules. That's a problem the opposition has to solve with the government at some point. Otherwise, if parliament is held up, the responsibility can be seen by the people. We won't distribute certificates.
Nalin,
let's go to the third point.
Yes.
What Mr. Basu is saying. Look, well, I mean, five people spoke.
So please, I have one more question. I have one more question.
Mr. Basu has all my sympathies and good wishes. Sure. Mr. Basu has all my good wishes, my sympathies. Their script has really reached them to left out from the entire politics. In Kerala, if there is credit, it goes to a leader who has to fight his whole party in surviving himself. Otherwise, he might have been chief minister himself for a second term. So let them handle it. When the left gets a script together, when they realize what India wants, and they
very
are
quickly.
in sync with him, perhaps people will give them votes.
Nalin, very quickly, but do you admit that at the end of the year...
And the last thing about conversion.
Just listen to me. No, let's not go into conversion.
One comment, we
don't have much time. That's why. My question is this very quickly. Very quickly, my question is this, that do you agree that in these 6 months of your government, Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, is unfortunately being diverted from his original agenda by your own people?
Let me go one by one. And
There's
I
only one
started the
question.
program by saying it. I say it in humility. Mr. Modi, let me finish it. Mr. Modi is no different from anyone who will face the voters. And as would everyone in his government. And the voters of India decide to elect governments that are full majority or not so. So obviously, the government of India, led by Mr. Modi, when it goes finally after 4.5 of approval or disapproval. And to say that we reject that the government will not do what it has said, even before a year is over, I consider that pessimistic and I consider it morbid.
You didn't answer my question, but anyway, Shashi, Congress at its lowest, in the most demoralized state of affairs, why do you think next year can be better for you?
Because, the Congress party stands for time-honored and time-tested values and principles that in this country have always had majority appeal. They include our faith in the pluralism of this country. They include our faith in social justice as well as economic growth. And they include our faith in running a system of government that actually serves the interests of the vast majority, and particularly those at the bottom of the pyramid. This is our approach. It has been one which has held us true in the past. In this election, there were certain negative factors that cost us. Those factors are now behind us. I believe that we will pick up and revive, and that the timeless appeal of our message will reach the electorate in the coming years.
Vinod, very quickly, last. My question is this.
You see,
my question is this. Has the politics in this country taken an irreversible turn?
You see, it will, and morbid as I may sound, I would request my friend Nalin to go and tell his party hierarchy to take another look at the social agenda which is being pursued under its very nose. There cannot be a conflict between the social policies and the economic policies of the government, and yet the promises of development, equity and growth could be met. I think social agenda is one big worry which is being pursued from somewhere else for this government.
I'll just say, that the agenda of Narendra Modi's election campaign is remaining fully unimplemented. One aspect of, the corporate requirements from Mr. Modi, these are being met. But on the other hand, the Aam Aadmi is being butchered.
Nalin, very quick, last words, very quickly, we completely run out of time.
Two sentences.
Yes.
Two sentences. With regard to the Aam Aadmi, they rejected the left front completely to the extent they are almost non-existent. So I don't know what is their fight. They probably ended up fighting the Aam Aadmi and the corporate India.
Fair enough.
So they
Don't
had no
bother
one else
about
to vote
us.
for them.
Go ahead.
The second part is to what Vinod Bhai is saying. No. Sir, you are commenting on us all the time.
Yeah,
I'm really commenting back.
No, we know
I hope I can have that
what
much of
kind
a-
of
please.
cronyism
The second
is
is on what
started.
Vinod Bhai
Please,
said.
Nilotpal,
In
we're
terms
there
of
on
what
time.
Vinod Bhai,
Nalin,
don't get agitated,
Nalin, please
sir.
don't respond.
I can
Just
take
tell me what you
criticism.
want.
I'm sure you can. Now let's come let's come back to what Vinod Bhai was saying. Look,
Quickly.
with regard to the conversion, when he talks of this, the person
Social
has
agenda.
been arrested. The program has been dropped. It
Okay.
isn't a BJP program and it isn't a government program.
Okay.
If anybody is breaking the law, they will face it. Why do you believe there will be double standards?
Okay, thank you, Nalin. I think we need to end, but it has been a dramatic year this year, and as the discussion today shows that it will be more dramatic in the coming year. We'll have to wait and watch what will develop in the coming year. Thanks to all my guests, Nalin, Kohli, Shashi, Tharoor, Nilotpal, Basu, Purushottam, Agrawal, and Vinod, Sharma. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue on the year end very soon.